Miami's Airbnb market has exploded in popularity with thousands of investors rushing to buy properties near the beach. But there's a hidden side to this market that most realtors won't tell you about. And as somebody who has helped clients navigate both the successes and failures, I'm going to share with you absolutely everything that you need to know before investing a single dollar here. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look out for so that you can avoid making a bad investment. And believe me, I see people make bad investment decisions here all the time, and I don't want you to be one of those people. Hey everybody, I'm Joe Bisaha, your Miami real estate advisor. I keep you updated so you never miss out on what's happening in Miami. Today we're diving into one of the most popular topics in this market. It's the Airbnb investment. And the question I get asked all the time is, Joe, is it worth investing in a short-term rental here in Miami? While the answer is probably yes, trust me, there are plenty of mistakes that people make in this market, so I'm gonna break it down for you. Getting straight to it, the Miami Airbnb market isn't as simple as buying a property, listing it on Airbnb, and raking in the cash. I've seen too many investors fall into this trap, and the truth is most of the problems aren't obvious at first. I'm going to break down 3 major challenges that can turn a promising Airbnb investment into a costly mistake. Problem 1 is the high property prices and your cash flow challenges. Starting with the basics, we all know Miami real estate is expensive, and over the last few years, property values have skyrocketed in neighborhoods like Brickell, Miami Beach, and Edgewater. For example, a 1-bedroom condo in Brickell can range anywhere from $600,000 to $1.2 million. A small house in Coconut Grove can easily go for over $1.5 million. Now, if you're paying cash, that's one thing, but most investors, they're financing these properties, which means that rising interest rates are adding another layer of financial pressure. What I see too often is investors relying on the best case scenarios for rental income, but if there's a dip in demand or an unexpected expense comes up, then suddenly you're probably going to operate at negative cash flow. Bottom line, in Miami, it's harder than ever to turn a profit on Airbnb if you're not buying smart. Second problem you run into is the strict short-term rental regulations here. And here's what really surprises people. Short-term rentals are in fact heavily regulated in Miami. You can't just buy any property and list it on Airbnb. Most buildings and neighborhoods have strict rules against it. For example, in Brickell, many condo buildings are requiring a minimum lease of 6 months. And in Miami Beach, you need to have a short-term rental license, and you can only operate in certain zones. And on top of that, even if the city allows it, the condo and the HOA, they can ban short-term rentals altogether. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see investors make is they assume they can just Airbnb any property, even if it's a single family house. I've had clients come to me after they buy a property only to find out that they legally can't rent it on Airbnb, even though they saw their neighbor and maybe the previous owner has done it. It's technically not allowed. Now, hope is not lost here, because what we could do is we could take a look at the numbers, see what your monthly cash is, what your carrying costs are, and what the exit strategy is going to be best for you. Maybe that's renting out the property on long term, doing something with midterm, or just exiting the property altogether. So before you buy, you need to verify both city regulations and the HOA rules, because they can make or break your investment. Problem number 3, and these are the costs that destroy your profits. So again, even if you find a property that allows Airbnb here, there are going to be hidden costs that can eat into your profits. One of the biggest ones we're seeing right now is your special assessments. Many older condo buildings are facing big renovation projects, things like new roofs, updated amenities, or structural repairs. To pay for these projects, buildings issue special assessments to their owners. These can range anywhere from $10,000 to over $50,000 per unit. And here's the kicker, you don't always know about these special assessments up front. Some investors only find out after they bought the property. Then there's property management fees. If you are hiring somebody to manage your Airbnb, that's typically anywhere between 10 to 30% of your rental income, and that's before taxes, maintenance, and cleaning costs. Some quick math, let's just say that your Airbnb brings in $5,000 a month. Property management down here takes about 20%. That's $1,000 gone to property management, and then you have to add in cleaning, repairs, and taxes. Suddenly, you're left with a lot less than you expected. And before I go further, I just want to make sure that you subscribe to the channel to receive more videos about living in Miami. I'll be making more videos about everything that you need to know about neighborhoods, brand new constructions happening throughout the the city, new things coming soon, and so much more, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So recapping the big three challenges: high property prices make it tough to turn a profit, strict short-term rental regulations can block you from using your property on Airbnb, and hidden costs like special assessments and management fees can destroy your bottom line. Now, you might be thinking, wow, Joe, this sounds pretty bad. But here's the good news: there are always ways to make this work. You just need to know where to look and how to navigate these challenges, and that's what I'm getting into next. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering if there's any way to actually make money in Miami's Airbnb market. The answer is yes, but only if you approach it strategically. I've helped clients in this space by focusing on three key things: understanding the right zones, finding Airbnb-friendly buildings, and then running realistic numbers. I'm gonna break down each one. Step one is knowing the right zones, because one of the biggest mistakes I see investors make is assuming that all of Miami is Airbnb-friendly. That's not the case, and Miami is made up of different neighborhoods, each with its own rules about short-term rentals. Here's a quick breakdown of some of the most popular areas for Airbnb investors and what you need to know about buying. Brickell is first up, and it's Miami's financial district, with luxury condos, restaurants, and a consistent flow of business travelers. At first glance, it seems like the perfect Airbnb market, but here's the reality: most buildings in Brickell don't allow short-term rentals. Even buildings that used to allow Airbnb are tightening their rules. For example, some condos now require tenant registration, meaning that your Airbnb guest has to be pre-registered with the building to get access. They might have background checks for guests, and a lot of the buildings mostly just don't allow short-term rentals because they don't want the wear and tear on the building, so they're going to require a minimum lease term of 6 months. If you want to invest in Brickell, you need to find the exception buildings that still allow short-term rentals legally, or looking at new construction that allows short-term rentals. Next up is Wynwood. Wynwood is one of Miami's trendiest neighborhoods, known for its street art, nightlife, and unique vibe. The good news: there are still Airbnb-friendly buildings here. For example, 250 Wynwood is a resale boutique condo. It's a building that allows short-term rentals. And then newer developments like the Ryder and Nomad are specifically designed for Airbnb investors. Wynwood is great if you're looking for an option for a property with built-in flexibility. Next up is Miami Beach. Miami Beach is the classic short-term rental destination. Tourists flock here year-round for the beaches, nightlife, and events like Art Basel and Formula One. When people think about coming to Miami, they're really thinking of Miami Beach. But Miami Beach has one of the strictest regulations in the city, and here's what you need to know. First, you need to have a short-term rental license to operate legally. Next, the city has the strictest zoning laws, and there are only certain areas where Airbnb is allowed. There are very, very few buildings in residential areas that are allowed for Airbnb. Most of the zoning is going to be towards ocean and east where the hotels are. If you violate any of these rules and are caught, you can get a fine of $20,000 or more. The city does not play around when it comes to short-term rentals. So the bottom line, if you're investing in Miami Beach, you need to make sure that you're in a legal short-term rental zone. Another neighborhood is Midtown and Edgewater. These neighborhoods are hidden gems for Airbnb investors. Midtown Miami is sandwiched nicely between Wynwood and the Design District, making it a prime location for tourists. Edgewater offers beautiful bay views, and it has a close proximity to downtown Brickell and Wynwood. Unlike Brickell and Miami Beach, some buildings in these neighborhoods still allow short-term rentals. Midblock in Midtown is a popular choice for Airbnb investors, and new developments in Edgewater are increasingly Airbnb friendly. Now, step two is finding your Airbnb friendly building. So once you've identified the right zone and the right neighborhood, the next step is finding a building that allows short-term rentals. And here's how you can do that. First, we check the HOA documents. This is critical because HOA rules can change, so you need to verify that the building that you're buying still allows short-term rentals. And to take it a step further, you're going to want to take a look at the meeting minutes to make sure that there's no conversation of the board or the residents wanting to vote to change this rule. Second thing you're going to want to do is work with a real estate expert, because navigating Miami's complex Airbnb market is overwhelming, let's be honest. So working with somebody who knows the market like myself can save you from making a costly mistake. Step three is running your realistic numbers. One of the biggest reasons investors fail in Miami Airbnb market is because they have unrealistic expectations. These are just a couple things that you need to factor into your calculations. One is your mortgage payment, your HOA fees, your property management fees. Those are typically 15 to 30%, any special assessments, and then your cleaning, maintenance, repairs, and of course, taxes. Let's run a quick example. Imagine you buy a condo in Edgewater for $700,000. Your monthly mortgage is $4,500. Your HOA fees are $800 a month. Property management takes 20% of your rental income. So even if you're bringing in $8,000 a month on Airbnb, your net profit might be much lower than you expected once you factor in all these expenses. Here's a harsh truth, and it's the fact that many investors fall in in love with the idea of owning an Airbnb in Miami, but they skip the most important step, and that's due diligence. I've seen it happen too many times where investors buy properties without reading all the HOA documents. I know it's over 70, sometimes they're 100 pages long, but you really need to read them or have an attorney that you hire to review them for you. Another mistake people make is that they assume the rental income will cover all of their expenses, which I've already talked about, and then they also underestimate the operational costs and the competition. So the result here is that investors are spending money on a property that is just bleeding every single month. Now, here's a pro tip. Midterm rentals are a great alternative because if short-term rentals seem too risky, you should definitely consider midterm rentals. There are rentals and condo buildings that allow 30-day minimum stays, and these are perfect for a different type of traveler. Think about your business travelers, your digital nomads, or maybe it's a seasonal visitor who wants to work from Miami remote for a couple months. Some Airbnb-friendly buildings in Miami allow these types of stays, but not daily rentals. For example, I said the Ryder in Wynwood, it offers a 30-day minimum lease term. Same thing with Opera Tower in Edgewater. Also, Mid-Block in Midtown allows flexible lease terms as well. Let me tell you about a client who got it right. I found him a 2-bedroom condo in Edgewater that allows for midterm rentals, and instead of going for the typical Airbnb daily rental strategy, he focused his unit on business travelers and digital nomads looking for month-long stays. And the result, he's earning consistent income with less risk and fewer operational headaches. These midterm travelers aren't going to be locking themselves out, or I hope they're not locking themselves out every single night or running into a party or wrecking your place. So just something to think about. You're probably wondering at this point, is Miami Airbnb market worth it? I think absolutely. If you play it smart, here are the differences between success and failure. Doing your homework, knowing the regulations, and working with experts, you'll have no problem finding a great property down here. So if you made it this far, there's a good chance that you're looking for an investment property here in Miami. My team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. All you have to do is email me, joe@joesellsmiami.com, to get started. We are the #1 short-term rental resource on YouTube, if you could believe that. And my team has helped over 100 people buy and sell in Miami in the last few years from people like you reaching out from YouTube. We are also a full-service property management company, and we handle new development and construction and commercial real estate. So if you have some of those needs, we'd love to help you find your next property here in Miami. You can find my contact information in the show description below. Send me an email or schedule a consultation with me directly. But before you go, if you want to see the top luxury condo options, then make sure you check out this video. I'll link it up next. I spend weeks and months prepping this video every single year to bring you the best new development options and home options for future Miami residents. You can click here to check it out now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.